Shabbat Shalom. I sometimes think about the human partners whom God chooses and the different assignments that are required of each of them. In particular, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, the big ones. And at least one important task that is asked of all of them is movement. To move, to leave, to get up from where they are when we first meet them in the text, and to relocate, to go somewhere dramatically different, far away, at significant personal cost and risk. Some of us who have tried living in new countries or even just new cities or states might have focused on the going aspect of it, as we encountered a certain seductiveness about greener grass which lay elsewhere, a sense of possibility that was greater elsewhere than what we already knew. For others of us, there might have been a concentration on the leaving aspect of it, the agony of saying goodbye to home, and the fear and dread of the unknown that were evoked. And yet still others of us might have experienced a bit of both, finding ourselves, somewhat caught between the senses of coming and going. You say goodbye and I say hello, as the Beatles said to us all those years ago. My teacher, Rabbi Sharon Cohen Annisfeld, writes, "When my husband and I first met, he told me that his family had a kind of motto: set yourself in motion and things will happen for you. My own family did not really have a motto, but if we did, it would probably have been something like, stand perfectly still and maybe, God willing, nothing will happen to you." As Jews, we are a people who have been somewhat defined by movement. One of our historical names, Ivrim, Hebrews, has at its root people who have crossed over. The name itself tells a story of having come from somewhere else, a story which forever carries the reminder that here and now are not the only place and time in our experience. Parashat Lech Lechah teaches that movement, a willingness to go beyond what is comfortable and familiar or routine, it teaches that movement is essential to our growth as human beings and to our religious and spiritual path as Jews. In the words of the Hasidic master, the Sfat Emet, the human being is called a walker, always having to go from one ring to another. That is why Scripture says, Lech Lechah, go forth from your land. A person should always keep moving. El haaretz asher ar'eka, to that which I will show you. Always some new attainment. Whoever stands still is not renewed, for nature holds them fast, and the angels, they are above and beyond nature, for they can be said to stand still. But a person, a human being, has to keep walking. Lech Lechah are surely two of the most commented upon words in the entire Torah, fraught with tension. When they are written on a Torah scroll side by side, they appear to be visually identical. And yet once they are bound together in a phrase, they create a semantic fork, and we, the reader, are equally tempted to pursue both paths. On the one hand, we know that Lech Lechah means go forth. These words are God's opening salvo to Abraham, to leave a very specific location and to go to another less specific one. But our repeated encounters with the phrase Lech Lechah, as we return to these words every year, we see that they invite us to consider the possibility that the meaning is go unto yourself. And even more elusive instruction from God to servant. Go unto yourself. Leave behind the image and perception that people who know you have always had of you, and set out on a journey into the depths of your inner self. Discover who you are and what you are capable of. Dream. In the first definition of Lech Lechah, which is go forth, we see the journey as a spatial one, a journey from one place to another. And in the second definition, go unto yourself, we see that the journey is a spiritual one, an attempt to grow as a human being and as a Jew. In our spatial journey, the destination is the point. God guides Abraham towards the land of Israel. In our spiritual journey, movement is the point. God tells Abraham what it means to live as an Israelite, as one who struggles with themselves, who wrestles with themselves, with meaning and with God. Writing on this week's Torah portion, scholar Aviva Zornberg teaches that Abraham is told to leave the landscape of your basic self-awareness to a place that you will know only when the light falls on it with a difference. In other words, you will know the place when you see it. Rising to the call to move is one of the greatest challenges we face. To grow into more than who and what we are right now by aspiring to become all that we can be. It is at once both a daunting and a thrilling path to travel, yet not one which is beyond our reach. For as the descendants of giants, such as Abram and Sarai, and so many generations that have come between them and us today, we know it is possible. The difference is that this time is our turn. Shabbat Shalom.